OMG, I mean, they're rinse and repeating what they did last game, so we already know the game plan. These kind of big AoE 5v5s that they're able to go towards, and now we get to see EIG. What is it? Actually taking away the Sivir.
Okay, well, no Sivir. You picked out the Nautilus. This would be a nice little takeaway considering that for IG Lyric, we've talked about it a lot of all in, but no super hard engage from the support.
Yeah, so I mean, typical response by OMG there with the Sivir taken off the table. Now for IG, we're going to see the Aphelios once again, but the question is partnered with what? I guess you could go towards the Renata again if you feel comfortable going with it. We saw Wink, when OMG were making mistakes, actually did have some impactful ultimates in that last game. There is still the question of, like, Rumble doesn't need to get in range without that equalizer and actually, like, cause a lot of chaos for IG as a team, but I think not too many other picks left available. Some teams have been willing to lean back into the Leona, but we haven't seen all too many.
That's right. I mean, for Wink, getting him on something engage-wise, though, that feels like a good direction. As, you know, so far for IG, thematically, Lyric, we have a pretty solid draft. I just want to see Leona, Tahm, okay, safety for Arn. Seems like a good direction too.
So now having, you know, the ability to devour when we have things like the Nautilus, the Ahri, and the Xin Zhao on the opposing side doesn't really do anything up against the Rumble. The equalizer's still going to be able to hurt out Wink if he does go for that devour and still cause a bit of an issue. And for OMG, it just seems like, hey, it worked so well in game 2. Let's just do it again, baby. As Abel locking in the Ezreal. We already know OMG going to be looking towards that top side to enable Shanji. Even ignoring the draft, that is how they've been playing for most of the split, is Aki kind of relying on the pressure that Shanji is able to put up towards that top side. IG, though, I think having more options in 5v5s, but especially when looking for picks, right? Vi, an incredible champion at being able to get in a team's face, lock one target down. Vex can follow up with her ultimate. You have the burst available to be able to find these kills.
So dive ability to get off picks, feels like IG, you know, to bridge tempo in this game. It's a comp very IG-esque. What we've seen so far is they've been super bloodthirsty, even though they're the team that's already out of playoffs. They're 4-10. If you're just tuning in, IG are on the outskirts and they can no longer make it, even if they were able to 2-0 this and 2-0 their next series. IG can't bridge that gap, unfortunately. However, at this point, Lyric, they can set themselves up to be a nuisance to everyone in the league. They can deny OMG playoffs. They can deny LNG in the same vein, because OMG pulling up a game means that even with an IG win, LNG do not lock in the spot. We will have all 6 teams on our 3rd day of Week 10 still vying for playoffs. So, of course, people want OMG to win here. They want to see OMG lock in playoff spots and do what they should have done, you know, potentially weeks ago, right? OMG are a team that we've been pretty hyped up about this split, and this could be another one of those games where we see why this team is worthy of playoff picture.
I mean, it felt like they should have locked in last week when they played up against BLG. I mean, coming in as favorites to that series, sadly dropping the ball. But like you said, having the opportunity to do here once again. We're going to be keeping your eyes on Creme. He did pick up MVP last game. It really feels like when Creme is on and having good games is when OMG are looking their best. But having to go up against Mole in this counter matchup is going to be a little bit rough. Vex did get a buff last patch. She was one of the champions who was really hurt by the durability changes, just not being able to burst targets out. She's another champion that, like, once you're in, you are just in. If the damage wasn't enough, you are pretty much just screwed. But her Q, getting a cooldown and damage buff, so kind of increasing some ability to trade in lane, and then also bringing a bit more burst in team fights.
Electrocute there as well, so further on your point about the lane, Creme going to have a hard job getting through this at the very least, and especially when we look at those other runes. Lethal Tempo again taken here on Zika in this top side, and Lyric, remember, it was the level 3 solo kill from Shanji after Zika took a turret shot that really just ruined that top side.
And it could do the same thing again. Shanji once again opting into the Ignite over the TP. We saw that did cause some, I don't want to say issues since OMG were always in control of that game, but annoyances when OMG were trying to force fights and he'd always just have to run over. So if Shanji can find that same sort of kill pressure and make sure he's utilizing that Ignite effectively, that is what OMG need to do. Because if this game goes into mid-game even when you are having to worry about that Jax having the TP, being able to match plays or get to plays before you, winning out on side still, that is one of the things that can push the levers in IG's favor.
Yeah, it wasn't a factor last game. There's good dredge line from Cold in the bottom lane. Top side, we're watching because, as we said, the level 3 was disastrous. So Zika's going to hit 2 first and have himself a good trade. Shanji last time around, it started in this exact same way, Lyric. Zika just constantly pushes him off the wave, and Shanji sitting at 1 CS to start the game off.
Yeah, Shanji accepting, though, right? He levels Z level 1, is going to let his wave get pushed in. He knows Aki's going to path towards the top side to try and find influence in this matchup regardless. So if that gank can come through, could mean the world of difference. Zika this time around hopefully won't take that turret shot to open up the solo kill potential to come through, but already dropping a bit of a ward. Could open up for a lane gank potentially if Zika does overcommit with a Q onto Shanji, though.
As we look back towards mid, I mean, Mole is doing an okay job at Creme with a good trade back. Arki's nearby, Lyric, and I'm wondering what Arki's angle is in this early game because lanes aren't pushed out in either way. There's an opportunity here if Mole oversteps.
I mean, that's like one of Vex's biggest counters, just ganks in general, because you are immobile. Like we said, you're kind of the champion that once you're in, you're in. That's not as true until you hit the level 6 mark, and that's even when this matchup becomes even more annoying, right? Because Ahri getting the Spirit Rush has those dashes, which then Vex can proc her passive, get more damage off, and even if you ever try to get into a window to all in, having that fear available. So Mole finding it like a nice small advantage early on in the game, but Creme has been able to hold up because it isn't too bad yet. But here's that gank you were talking about.
He's so deep for this one on the
Creme.
This is so disrespectful. Creme flashes away, though. Even with Aki now on the wave, look at where Mole's going. Aki is going to channel and follow him. Level 4 mid versus level 4 jungle, but look over the wall. Cold's here. Is he going to burn the flash? Yes, he is. Dredge line at max range. Mole's going to die to first blood, and Cold showing us that Nautilus has that energy.
And I have no idea what Mole was doing. Like, that was the most we are eliminated, I don't care energy I've ever seen.
True.
Great by Aki to punish. You were highlighting that the gank can come through. They utilize it. But yeah, nice first kill going over. But feels like you should really never be in that position where you're between tier 1 and tier 2 turrets, with your jungler nowhere nearby, with your bot lane not really having the support lean pushing in. And we're going to see here, Mole wanting to find that kill like you were talking about, does force Creme to flash, is denying some CS, but also ultimately giving a kill over. You did get 2 summoners for your trouble, but yeah, you also did blow on yourself.
The Nautilus again. I mean, that one less egregious. Yeah, he's back in the bottom lane. Wink should be going down here. And IG too deep as they look for the re-engage on top of Cold. Arn is going to die as well. Dredge line again. My God, Lyric, we're doing it once more.
We're doing it again, IG.
Jeez,
IG, I guess, had one in the tank, but OMG, great job. I love junglers that flash over walls to make ganks happen. Aki going right over. Looks like OMG were already winning out in that 2v2, considering Abel picking up that first kill. And we're going to see how it all started here as,
again.
Dredge line coming in from Cold. Even gets the turret shot down. Like we highlight, Aki flashes over the wall. They're going to be able to guarantee this 1 kill anyway, but Aki joining the fray opens up for them to get on as well.
Apparently, it's not even lollipopping. I remember looking up recently. It's literally just got a massive hitbox. So, I don't know. I'm sure someone out there understands Dredge line better than I do, but at the very least, Lyric, that is so funny. I was saying, oh, the last one wasn't as egregious. That one definitely was. The minions helping out, obviously moving away. It's like Moses with a big staff, and Cold now sets up 0 and 3. He's got himself a perfect KDA so far, and what I mean is 100% kill participation is okay. That dredge line maybe not as good, and IG move into mid to try and help out.
I mean, we're still almost already at a 2K gold lead for OMG, though. This is this could snowball out of control very quickly, especially considering we said Abel didn't really have to do much last game and was still putting up like pretty solid damage numbers. Already having a Sheen in pocket, already stacking up a tier, a long sword on top of it, halfway through his call. Like, Abel is living a good life.
As Mole will not. Charm lands at melee range, and Shadow Surge won't even come out. Mole's dead a second time round, and this is just looking so easy yet again. The 2K gold lead holds as Shun's going deep for a ward, but he can't be there. Aki's moving bot.
maybe Mole found out that the hot pot place that LNG invited them to is actually like one of his least favorite.
Oh,
So,
true.
Shun.
Flash Volt Breaker, Tongue Lash slows him down. Okay, Arky's gonna die here. IG getting some gold back, and with the jungler down, now we're cooking.
Now for IG, I wonder if they feel comfortable committing to a dragon. That timer's obviously not that long. They have had pressure in bot, and it looks like they are just going to go for it, considering bot lane, able to get back to lane. Mole, also considering he just died, is going to get back to lane compared to Creme, who needs to go for that reset.
All right, Lyric. I'm convinced, though, you know, now that OMG have handed that shutdown over, I'm convinced that IG aren't just giving up, but with the dredge line there, True Shot Barrage, Wing takes such a hefty chunk. Cold now takes on the last member in front of them, which is Arn, who's playing with range. At least they hold strong here in the river as Dragon goes down, and Mole now moving in for the Shadow Surge. Can he hit it onto Cold? Yes, he can. Fear's there, and the Spectral Bolt won't tag him on the outside. Abel just Arcane shifts over. He too will live, and a worthy attempt, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, we see both teams trying to find kills, right? Abel doing a surprising amount of damage to Wink when they were going for the pick onto him. And then now, IG not able to find those kills is going to open up this opportunity for OMG to look for Herald. Shanji is Equalizer. The fact that Mold doesn't have ultimate. Vex without ultimate is pretty much a useless champion because you need enemies then to run into you to do your damage or to be able to get your fear off. You're not able to proactively look for those opportunities. So OMG, I like that they're capitalizing. And we can already see in topside, Shanji's already been able to get a plate for himself. So
yep.
I wouldn't be too surprised if we start seeing more pressure given over to topside. But with both jungles having pretty much every camp up, maybe we're going to get like a 30 seconds of solace.
Of lull, yeah. Lull about a bit till the Herald goes down. I was going to also say to you, like, CS leading the top side on top of the plating means that Shanji right now is sitting pretty. We also have ourselves a pretty even CS bot, but 2 kills on Abel, so it does feel like OMG's the team to talk about here in this early game, as Aki is going to be contesting over for the scuttle. Shouldn't thinking about it, but Aki right now with the Iron Spike Whip seems a little bit stronger, so he backs out while Shun argues for an angle on the top side.
Not going to be able to find anything, though. Especially considering you know that Aki's still in the area, probably not wanting to look for that 2v2. You look at the minimap, Creme having complete control of mid lane, but Mole might just drop the wave in case something happens.
God, all right. That's a thick wall, Shun. A very thick wall. He needed to be further down, Lyric. That's rough.
I mean, we've seen a few of those plays throughout this game from both teams, right? So, yeah, there's some mistakes. This is a 4-10 team versus 7-8 team, and though a team who arguably should probably have more than 7-8 on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
But now kind of, you know, taking stock of what items are coming through. Already item Spike Whip in pocket for Aki, who now is starting to set up for this play on top side with how much Shanji's getting done to this turret.
Well, good ward, though. Going to spot him out. At least now there can be a response. However, Shun is on the opposite side of the map. So, as I say that, maybe it's going to be Zika dying down. Remember, the ward is going to spot Aki. Zika should not die here. Otherwise, Lyric, I'm going to go eat the rest of my spring rolls, dude. I will not take any of it.
The only question is if OMG would be comfortable to opt for a die, but doesn't look like that's what's going to come through. Aki ending up wasting a whole lot of time. And heck, 4IG on the opposing side, not even trying to set up a play bot. Shun just trying to find a bit of an advantage for himself in terms of clearing out his camps.
Nice ulti, yeah. Aki, Zika in the top side has to jump in on top of the red carpet. And so Shanji, with more plating, the CS lead here that's going to be massive, means that Zika on this Jax that he blind picked yet again is going to be suffering out, Lyric. And Shanji with the lead this time, not given through a solo kill, but just given through the good laning we saw last time too.
We might even see a similar scenario, right, where last time around OMG opted not to drop Herald top because of how well Shanji was just doing in the isolated 1v1. Could just keep leaning Aki up, letting that advantage kind of boil up on its own. Just with Aki hovering around, you don't have to be afraid of Gage coming through because you feel comfortable in winning that 2v2, especially when you look at items coming out across the board, right? Like, sure, Kempunk chain short on Shun, you have a full mythic on Aki, and then Zika having to get that Hex Drinker, really going to be hurting his damage capability.
Okay, Bolt Breaker, Counter Strike knocked in the air. Is he going to move? Flashes away, but burning down. Nice gank. Zika ignited down, though. The minions help. He's dead for a trade. But hey, at the very least, he has TP.
you're the team that dedicated resources up towards top side, and OMG are the ones who find a kill. I love it. Now they don't have to go cover. They're just going to commit fully to this mid lane, drop Herald. Cold's already here, and should in no position to answer.
True. You're right. Lyric, in retrospect now, OMG with the better gold trade. The fact you traded topside kill as well is just showing OMG's early game is right now feeling like so much better. We have a 2-0 Ezreal that we don't need to talk about. We have Shanji, who was able to get a kill and is 100 CS up in the top side. And plating given over to Creme on this pick yet again. Creme might be even in CS, but 001, he's be able to pick up plating. He's now got a stopwatch too. OMG in a good position, Lyric, to lock in playoffs today. That's all I'm going to say. You know, IG might have dropped the ball a little bit. Maybe they need to, you know, go and eat some food. As Everfrost for Everfrost on the flash on Creme. He gets out though. Space build. Shadow Search not even going to be used. Mol's flash is available. Like, what is happening? Here's the ulti from Shanji as well. Maybe IG have just decided that, hey, you know what? OMG deserve to be in playoffs, and IG just keep getting caught out left, right, and center.
IG, to me, plays like that, whatever. The most egregious one still being the between two turrets so early on with your team nowhere to be found. That one was crazy. I understand wanting to look for that solo kill, but we can see now after the pick, I mean, OMG have already had full control of the map, but just look at the wards littered. Top side, bot side, around Dragon, just everywhere. OMG know exactly what IG are looking for. Gonna be able to pick up their first Dragon of the game. And heck, Rift Herald coming up in less than a minute. That is all but guaranteed to be OMG's.
It's a 3k gold lead where Aki is able to stop the Dragon stacking of IG. We'll look at this again. As you said, Lyric, not as egregious, but we're looking at the top side gank, which ended up being a trade.
So IG utilizing their pick tools, but having to tank that turret, 2 shots going down, and then the Ignite ticking. Unfortunate for Zika, but does go down. And here, I mean, OMG set up the play right. Mole getting locked down. CC into CC once again brought down. Like, he had flash, but he has nowhere to flash. He would have gone down. The difference maker, OMG bringing Cold over to the play. You look at the minimap, Wink still nowhere nearby. And with that, OMG just slowly building up this gold lead. And IG looks like they're saying, hey, you know, we've already been opting into every fight and every pick we can find. What is another one at that for OMG? Take it a little bit slow. Let Shanji get over here. You can start trying to poke them out with this Ezreal. And for the side of IG, I feel like you're relying a lot on Mole to find like a huge ult that can maybe fear multiple members. But even then, a lot of IG's damage and lockdown is single target.
Yeah. Tahm, Kench, multi-man knockup, that's what you hope for, I guess, Shun, to get to that back line. Counter-Strike is a 2-man, though, as Cold takes the damage, goes golden to negate as Shanji's coming through. A good Shadow Surge, but watch this rumble. The Equalizer lines the river, and Zika's getting burned to a crisp as Creme now has to disengage. IG all-inning, Charm connects. Creme and Shanji live on, and that's just pure outplay as Invictus Gaming looks like they're going home dead.
Yeah, 4 for 1 in favor of OMG. That's going to be a Herald. That's going to be a mid lane turret. That's going to be a playoff spot. That's going to be OMG's favorite meal. I don't know. It's everything.
Well, Doombee's not buying it for them, that's for sure. IG probably going to get set lumps of coal by Doombee, if anything. Because at this point, OMG to take off playoffs. This game is looking mighty fine as we look at the all-in again. As you said, IG, just don't shy away from the fight.
No, they go in. They have a nice 2-man knockup, but Aki able to knock them back. Damage trying to come through, but once the other members get into the fight, Equalizer going to be able to come down. You've already wasted pretty much all your upfront burst. That's what a lot of IG's comp is, coming out from the Vi and the Vex. Even the Moonlight Vigil blown very early on. Multiple members walking over that Equalizer in the end, and then Creme able to find the charm and clean up the 2 members on the back line for the side of IG.
They're so fed. 5,000 gold lead. Zika's about to get this turret, but maybe he's not because Shanji has an Equalizer again. And Zika has to pay respect to that. And what I was saying about being fed, Lyric, is that Shanji's now 3-1-2 as the Night Harvester. Aki is a big deal as well. I don't want to see this robot on the bottom of my screen. As they go for the all-in engage, I mean, Arky's here. Equalizer down. He goes golden. It's a TP burn. IG are about to be heavily outnumbered. And as Creme comes through, even though Mole's joining in, I know which mid laner I'd prefer. It starts off IG favored, but with the Orb of Deception, the reset for Creme, it's Reset City. As this Ahri not going to miss either. Charm in. Abel's here. Zika running for his life, but Arky snipes him down. Invictus Gaming lyric. I'll tell you what, I'm going to be changing their Marvel movie after this.
IG are trying to answer back in mid lane, but OMG are just getting so much. Looks like they're even going to try and push another turret up in the top side. They have the Rift Herald, so they should be able to do so. And, I mean, this will even get a charge on the inhibitor turret.
Yeah. Won't get the inhibitor by the looks of it with Shun and Mole alive, but as you said, the charge will be coming through. There's nothing Wink can do to stop it. Do not lick the eye. That's how you get conjunctivitis. It's going to do a lot of damage. And so the top lane turret in front of the inhibitor now brutalized as OMG move close to a 7,000 gold lead. It's 17 minutes into the game. It has been an absolute stomp. Creme getting Ahri again, lyric. Feels like a big part of it. But I will just say, Arky prioritizing this pick for a reason is we're looking for an armed solo kill, but he just doesn't have the damage at this point.
No, and I feel like that's a big problem looking across the board. Like, seriously, compare Zika's items to Shanji's. Might Harvester, Fiendus Codex, aren't even Sword Boots. Zika had to buy the Hex Shrinker, hasn't finished his Mythic yet. Sure, we can see here they have a decent amount of damage to come out. Initially, once OMG are able to bring their other members in, Abel and Creme both having TP, they have the numbers, the stopwatch was able to buy time, and then they're able to keep running them down with Creme's Spirit Rush.
How good would you feel as Abel in this game? In this series in general, when Arn had the audacity to pull out Samira in game 1, clapped you with it, and then banned it against you so you couldn't get revenge. Abel's sitting there being like, don't take my champion or talk to me ever again, you know? Keep Samira's name out of your mouth, honestly. Abel, lyric, he deserves to be praised here on this Ezreal. It might be clean stuff, it might be a simple game, but let's be real. He's been playing so much better this split.
What if he's doing both? What if he's saying that to On, but he's also yelling at Samira? And, you know, what if he's done with her? What if he's like, hey, you know, you were supposed to be my champion. You were supposed to only work for me. That was your one job. And now that someone else found a win, he's like, I'm done.
True. Now he moves on to something else. Maybe Quinn comes up in playoffs, you know? Something even more obscure than Samira. I mean, to be fair, Samira's not too obscure. You know, they even made another champion that has the same Q&E. So I feel like right now there are people willing to play it in the league, but dude, when I see the Quinn 80 carry, that's when I'll know.
So what you're saying then is that he should be the first one in LPL to bring out the Neela, and that should be his new love.
True, yes. I'm waiting for it. It's enabled. People are wondering in LPL, it is enabled. Like, it's a shame we haven't had it as OMG found a pick. Backing on a ward here, Wink, as we look down towards bottom. Zika and Mole are trying to take out Shanji, but a depth charge to help out. His equalizer comes out in the end, but it's a one-for-one trade as Creme runs in the middle of the fight. Shun jumping in. No stun available for IG as Abel now joins in, pokes him down, and this AD carry getting revenge. Arn's ulti would have been huge if the game was even, but with a quadra kill for Creme de la Creme, it is a quadra Creme in the end.
Quadra Creme coming in clutch. I mean, what is this game? What is this series at this point? It looked like we were going to start off serious, and now here we are, 20 minutes, 24 kills in. Both teams just keep running in. For OMG, it makes sense. Like, they own the bank right now. IG are hoping to take out loans, but what could you do? OMG being the lone shark that's running them down. Shanji almost gets picked off to start the fight, but as long as he's able to drop that equalizer in the end, he's done his job.
Here we go.
IG gonna try and find a steal.
Mole's jumping in. Creme does that matter. Baron goes down at the 21-minute mark. IG here as Arky tries to back in the back of the pit. I mean, this is just insulting at this point. It's a 10k gold lead, and OMG is sitting there like it's a solo queue game where they're going to challenger promos after this.
You know, I wanted to dive deeper into the madness. Keep going, IG. Yeah. Keep running into them. OMG, like we said, they're over the moon whenever IG are looking to force these plays. And they're doing a nice job of staying together as a unit compared to last game where it felt like they were just kind of running in, let's say, like 3 would go in first, and then maybe Shanji would join up, and then Abel would get there. It was a little disconnected, but they were still strong enough to make it work. Now, they have that same strength, but typically they're going in, or at least hovering, with all 5 members. And now with IG not situated to make a cross-map play towards top, OMG can just funnel in down on this bottom side. They have the Baron available. Creme has TP, and they could look to start taking down this spot in mid tier 2 turret.
Because Lyric, what do you do at this point as IG? You watch the game slowly end. Like, Mole is 0-6. And it you know why I feel tilted after this game? It's not the last couple of plays from Mole. Like, they would have been fine. As you said, being between turrets at level 2, level 3, like, it just feels like that ruined this whole game beyond repair, or at least was one contributing factor.
Maybe didn't ruin the game beyond repair, but it definitely made me question a lot with where his team was on the map.
Yeah.
As we see OMG now just gonna start brute forcing their way in. So you ask what IG want to do here. Start figuring out what your favorite takeout is. Maybe think about what movie you want to watch tonight. Is OMG gonna look for the engage?
And Ahri's hitting the range. The question mark goes up from Ahri. Shun was dealing with mid-wave. I like the equalizer on the back end to stop IG from a potential shadow surge. So Baron power play, it's not the gold in the top right that's so impactful. It's the fact that the inhibitor turret is now down 50 seconds before Dragon. And IG Lyric, who's got the damage to deal with this? I guess it's Arm.
It's only on. And we've seen, right? He's had some respectable damage come out, especially from his ultimate in that last play. But the thing I love is when you look at the player cams for the side of OMG, like how honed in and serious they still seem. Like, this is a game, realistically, if OMG were like smiling and laughing and like, ha ha ha, what is going on? It'd be totally understandable. But no, they have one goal in mind. They're like, we don't care. We need to get our playoff spurt. Then we can laugh. Then we can have fun. Then we can do whatever we want. But wanting to find a win in a clean, serious fashion.
God, OMG making playoffs again. It has been few and far between in the last 5 years. Like, we have seen this rise to fame, but as OMG TP through in the mid lane, this is an organization that has often struggled. We remember that OMG made 2021 summer playoffs, but before that, Lyric, it was 2017. Now bridging down mid is a great dredge line from Cold. I can say that again. Mole is going back to the death chamber. Something else for Vex to be depressed about as Creme runs on in. Again, this Ahri having a great time. Wink will save his life, but OMG are hell-bent on locking in playoffs. They will not be stopped by this 4, soon-to-be 11-loss team. OMG heading towards the base. It ain't the go-going roster. It ain't the Loveling, Cool, Uzi, and San one. It's a roster filled with new talent. Creme, Shanji, Aki, and Abel brings in the mix. OMG are gonna be at playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. But how far can this team go? Hopefully we get to see it as they round out their split 8-8 and lock in that spot finally.
Great series from OMG. Great game 2 and game 3 coming out from them. It was a weird one. This one, I don't really have words for. But point is, right, we are going to get to see the creativity of OMG in playoffs. We called them creative, even Zika saying, hey, Shanji, very creative player. And it's kind of nice having that personality be brought into the LPL and be brought to playoffs. It's kind of funny that they still don't look like too overjoyed. There it is. There's the smiles we wanted. But part of that could come down to maybe the expectation they have for themselves, right? Maybe it's not all like frolicking and like, let's go, because they realize of like, hey, we think we should be in playoffs. We know we should have qualified for playoffs before. Today is just get the business done and then look locked and loaded towards the future.
OMG making it, that's the biggest thing, right? Like, if they lost this, their fate would be in someone else's hands. But OMG hitting 8 means they cannot be caught here by teams outside. Remember that BLG and FPX are teams that can only hit and hold 7. And what that means is 8 locks in a bottom 4, guaranteed. So OMG find their place in, and I have to say, Lyric, like, what a, rough start to the series, but a dominant end, to say the least.
Yeah, and, we're going to end up talking about OMG as we get MVPs and get towards player interviews, so we can do our quick hit on IG of, like, man, I don't know what happened, especially that game 3. I mean, that that Mole performance, that was WE Mole, right? When Mole was on WE, like, he did not look good. It looked rough. It was like, is this really the same guy that was on V5? And then we have him come into IG. Everything's looking good. Everything's looking solid. But that game was just so horrendous. But game 2 and game 3 from IG across the board, right? Even things like their draft, you're kind of surprised they're willing to go back to this Jax pick. Like, surely Zika looks confident. And maybe he knows, like, okay, in the 1v1, I'm going to be down a little bit, but I'm going to scale, I'll be fine. But the problem is that IG as a team are so willing to go for these skirmishes, it feels like either they have to kind of change up how they're playing, or, again, change your priority in draft. So I'm pretty confused about IG. This series did kind of look like, especially this game 3, right? Game 2, some bad drafts, some, like, mistakes early, whatever. Game 3, it looked like, hey, we're out. Well, that's all I got.
That's it.
That's all I got. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, the mid. I think being between turrets was just, honestly, I think, I don't know, the golden Y4s, the golden Ricks. I think that might be in it. I don't know. I don't know.
Yep.
If it was just, like, you know, not ridiculous, but, well, actually, yeah, it was. So maybe that'll get a top
You know what?
place.
That one will be revisited because we got
Yep.
the golden Ricks on Sunday. We can go back to
True.
praising OMG, because one thing that's great about OMG, right, is that this OMG roster has so much personality. It has actually built up a lot of fans, like, with the Western audience. A lot of people like watching OMG play, find Shanji exciting, like the style they bring, this, like, very rugged, scrappy, again, typically, like, very short range, very brawly sort of style has been something that they've made their own and that people can identify with.